All right, folks, it is 6:59 on day, pop quiz. What is it, 105, I think? Ooh. My legs haven't quite woken up yet, but I've woken up. I'm cutting out of the days in, and yeah, some of the other fellas. We'll go get some breakfast, y'all. All right. So yeah, 9 o'clock, day 105, leaving the days in. I'm gonna go cop some brekkie at, what did I say, 9 o'clock? 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock on day 105, leaving the days in. Go get some breakfast. There's only one joint that opens at 7. Hopefully they open at 7. Their door says they open at 7 when I was downtown yesterday. And then like every other breakfast place, there's like a tea place that opens at 10. There's a breakfast place that opens at 8. Another breakfast place that opens at 8. It's just not a town that does breakfast, I guess. But this one coffee shop looks like they open at 7, so I'm hoping I can kind of make it work with something from there. And then I got a shuttle. Same dude who gave us a lift into town yesterday is going to give just me a lift out of town today at 8. So mash in some breakfast, run back to the hotel. I'm mostly already packed, but you know, there's always a couple finishing touches or something left charging or whatever. So I'm gonna have to get that stuff thrown in. Morning, and then we'll get back to it. So I'll get some breakfast. I'll talk to y'all later. All right, folks, 8:08, and I'm saying goodbye to Mr. Birdman.
See you later.
See you, Birdman.
Beat it.
Enjoying his 0. And shuttle should be outside. He texted me just like 5 minutes ago. I thought he said he was going to be a few minutes late, and then he wound up being a few minutes early, which is great. But you know, I feel a bit bad because I wasn't quite 100% dialed in. But anyways, we'll go jump in the shuttle. We'll get on trail. I'll check back when we get there. Alrighty, folks. 8:17. Just getting back on trail. 8:17. Not sure what the temperature is, but honestly, it's not cold, not hot, but not cold. It's raining just a little bit this morning when I walked out to get breakfast. I think there's just a little bit of a drizzle, just tiny little spit of rain. Couldn't even tell whether it was going to sustain or not. And honestly, I'm just going to go ahead and continue on my trend of not really checking weather for quite some time. But I'm not wearing any rain gear at all. I do have my rain socks in the pack. I got my rain pants in the pack. Got my poncho in the pack. All that. Poncho and pants are pretty accessible. Rain socks are not. But yeah. One cool update I'll give you is, so I'm only like 50 miles or something like that, maybe 60 miles, like actual miles, not only trail miles, but actual miles from where my wife's cousins, Maureen and Bowen, live. They bought a house in eastern New York, kind of like right up against the Massachusetts border, maybe a year or two ago. And yeah, so I've been communicating with them about trying to link up. Originally the plan was they were going to pick me up about 60 miles down trail, but the timing of that was going to be all funky and basically resulted in me needing to take what would have been a 27-mile day today, which would have been a little tricky considering the late start and everything. I mean, it would have been a tricky, well, even with an on-time start, but definitely with a late start. But we were texting some this morning, and because of their work schedules, basically it would be easier for them to pick me up a little bit closer to where I am right now, like a little bit trail south of the initial plan, which is only like 28 miles or something from where I was last night. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and take, you know, maybe like a 15 or 16 today, and maybe like a whatever 12 or 15 or something tomorrow. So we'll get a couple of kind of lazy days, if I can pardon my balance. I'm trying to walk the planks out here, these little bog boards. Yeah, so we'll have a couple of lighter days today and tomorrow, and then hopefully if Maureen and Bowen are a little less shy than their niece and my wife Daphne, then maybe we get to say hello to them on camera too. So we'll see how we go, but definitely a good stop. Excited to be back on trail, and I'll check in with y'all later.
Hello folks, it is 10:49, 65.6 degrees on day 105, which is a multiple of 7, and that makes it health report time. Yay, exciting. I am just about, I think a touch over, maybe 6.25 miles into the day, which means I got about 11 miles remaining, 11.5 miles remaining to my destination. Sorry, I just came up a bit of a hill. But yeah, weekly health update. So, let's see. I was reading some comments. I should, in fact, before I begin, maybe reinforce the point that all of these videos that you guys watch are generally just about a week behind. As like a logistical matter, the only real way I can do daily videos for you guys is to kind of upload while I'm in town and then schedule them to release. So it's like if you're watching a video on day 95, chances are I'm somewhere in real time on like, you know, the day that day 95 releases and publishes on YouTube. I'm on like day 102, 103, something like that. So I'm always going to be about a week ahead of wherever you guys think I am. And that's just, you know, no real way around that. I just don't have reliable service in the field. So anyways, I was reading comments from one of my earlier health updates about my hip. I appreciate all the concern. A lot of folks thinking it might be like a hip flexor, or, you know, a couple of comments that it could be potentially something worse, which hopefully it is not. But luckily, the hip has calmed down. The hip has calmed down a little bit the past week and a half, 2 weeks. I haven't felt any more of those pangs or bites or anything like that. So that's pretty good. Hopefully that continues. And it was just like a grumpy little thing. Aside from the hip, let's see. My neck is also, you know, all better, I'd say, from when I bumped it on a tree a week or two ago. So that's good as well. I like that. Foot blisters, you know, I just took off some Leuko tape that had been on there for a week or so, to wrap up some blisters and stuff. And I think I'd also mentioned in my previous week's health update about some weird, like, sort of pain on the bottom of my right foot, like on the sole, almost like in the arch on the bottom of my right foot, that I just put two layers of Leuko over that as well. Well, turns out if I do that again, I'm gonna have to be more diligent about replacing those strips of Leuko tape, because yesterday when I was in town, you know, I like to replace Leuko tape, or just remove Leuko tape when I'm in town. Let's see, I guess I'm going this way. And I took off that Leuko tape on the bottom of my foot, and I guess with all the rain and the fact that my foot had just been wet, I mean, just wet for pretty much 3 or 4 days straight, that Leuko tape actually took off a little bit of skin, which was pretty gnarly, to be honest. And so the bottom of my foot was bleeding just a little bit, which isn't particularly fantastic at all. Definitely the sort of thing you want to avoid, is a bleeding bottom of your foot. But, you know, washed it up good, and then got a strip of gauze and some polysporine, and put the gauze and polysporine and taped it back up again. So I'm gonna see how dirty I feel when I get to camp tonight. If I feel not too dirty, I'm gonna replace that, change the dressing. And more likely, if I do think I'm pretty dirty, I think I'd rather just leave it taped up, especially since I'm gonna be in my cousin's place, my wife's cousin's place tomorrow. But yeah, that's definitely something I'm gonna have to keep an eye on. I'm gonna have to be pretty methodical about checking that and keeping that clean and dressed and stuff. I really don't want that to get worse. Golly, I just wiped a mosquito out of my ear. That's another thing I'll report on my weekly health update, is that these mosquitoes have been absolutely out of control for the past few days. Since those 2 days of rain, 2 or 3 days of rain, There was no mosquito activity during the rain, of course. And boy, now that they are back out, they are angry and hungry and abundant and just freaking little devils. So they're pretty well driving me crazy. Where in the blazes does the trail go? That way. Yeah. So let's see. Head better, neck better, hip better. What does this all mean? That's the southbound blaze. That's the northbound blaze. Got it. Yep. Sometimes we get turned around, and sometimes we get squeezed. Oh goodness. Yeah. So head better, hip better. Blisters on the right foot are pretty well resolved, but the bottom of the foot issue kind of metastasized into something, honestly, probably just a little bit more serious. Not serious, but a little bit more serious. Yeah, I think health is doing good. Health is doing good. So I guess that's about it for the weekly health update. Looks like I spoke to a couple day hikers out here on a hike. I always like getting weather reports from day hikers because they tend to be local and have a better read on what the weather is in the area. And they're also more allergic to bad weather than a through hiker is. So they said that might get some thunderstorms this afternoon into the evening, overnight, something like that. Plus over the weekend, the next 3 days or so, it's going to be like up into the 90s, which is just absolute kryptonite to me. I hate hiking in the heat, but no pain, no rain, no main, as they say. So you do what you got to do, and what I got to do now is cut the health update and keep on hiking. So I will check in with you all later. Okay folks, it is 3:33 and 67.6 degrees, and I'm just making it to Shaker Campground. There's the privy, there's the 2 tent platforms. Yeah, I got a fire pit and a picnic table. That's all pretty great. Boy, it is muggy and buggy. It has just been humid, and mosquitoes are freaking driving me crazy today, even with all this picaridin, permethrin, and every other pea insect repellent you can think of. Just wanted to timestamp you. We're gonna go ahead. Golly. Whew, that's what happens when you carry an extra 11 pounds of water. I'm gonna go ahead and get this tent pitched up, probably throw on some more picaridin, and then get some dinner going. Yeah, I'm gonna check back one more time. Alrighty. Alrighty, y'all, 5:11 and about 69.2 degrees. I've just started hearing the faintest little like pins drumming on the outside of the tent there. I think there's gonna be thunderstorms tonight. Should be fine. I'm up on a platform, so hopefully that all works. And yeah, I already had dinner and I'm wiped again, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and bunk up, edit video, go to sleep. And tomorrow I think it's about 10 miles to get to where my wife's cousins Maureen and Bowen are gonna scoop me up. I think I said niece earlier. I think I described Daphne as their niece. That's not the case at all. They're cousins. So sorry about that. Anyways, I'll check in with you all tomorrow. Sleep well.